Hi, I'm Alexis Shelsky coming at you from Slumber Falls.
And I'm Julie Leeson, also coming at you from Slumber Falls. This is the story about the prophets. Today we will hear about the prophet Jonah. Now the word of the Lord came to Jonah.
Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and tell them that they are bad and they need to change and become good. Now, the prophets are people who come so close to God, and God comes so close to them that they know what God is telling them to do. Then they go do it. Jonah turned and went the other way. He found a ship going to Tarshish in Spain. It was far from Nineveh, as you could go. Suddenly, a great storm broke out.
The sailors were afraid, so each one prayed to his own God. They knew everything they were carrying into the ocean. They threw everything they were carrying into the ocean to make the ship light so that it could float. Now, a prophet is someone who helps people know what to do. They went to look for Jonah. Do you know where he was? He was asleep in the bottom of the boat. The captain found him and commanded him to call on his God to save him. All Jonah did was climb up onto the deck of the boat.
The storm got worse, and the people were more afraid. They decided to cast lots to see who had made God angry. They wanted to throw that person overboard to get rid of him. Now, a prophet is someone who speaks for the one true God. But Jonah still did not speak. The sailors asked him who he was. He told them he worshipped God, the one who made the sea and the dry land. Then the sailors were afraid. They knew that he was trying to flee from God.
The sea grew even more troubled. Finally, Jonah said, "Throw me in and the storm will stop." So they threw him in. All was suddenly quiet. The sea was calm.
Now, a prophet is someone who brings people close to God by what he or she says and does. Jonah said nothing, but when the sea grew calm, the sailors all fell down and worshipped the true God.
Now, a prophet is someone who is close to God, and a false prophet is very far from God. When Jonah was thrown into the water, he was neither close to nor far from God. He was sinking.
As he sank, a great fish swam up and swallowed him. Jonah was in the belly of the big fish for 3 days and 3 nights.
Jonah began to pray, and the fish began to feel very strange. It grew sicker and sicker. Finally, it swam to the shore and vomited out Jonah.
Now, the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and tell the people that they are bad and they need to change and become good.
This time Jonah went to Nineveh. He cried out to the people of Nineveh that they were bad and that God commanded them to be good. God said that they would all be destroyed if they did not change.
Now, a prophet is someone who is overjoyed when people who are bad become good. The people of Nineveh listened to God's call, and they turned and became good. All went about wearing sackcloth and ashes to show how sorry they were. Even the king and queen were sorry and became good. The creatures in the field were sorry too, and they also became good. God did not destroy that great city.
This made Jonah very angry. He wanted God to destroy the city. These people were not even the people of God. He went outside the city, sat on a hill, and sulked.
Jonah wanted to get his way. God said, "Why are you angry?"
Well, God caused a plant to grow and give Jonah shade as he sat on the hill in the sun. Then one night, God sent a worm to attack the plant. It withered away and died.
When the sun rose, a sultry east wind came, and the sun beat down on the head of Jonah so that he was faint. He grew angry about the death of the plant.
"Why are you angry about the plant?" God asked. Jonah said, "I am angry. angry enough to die. He thought he still might get his way.
God said, "You pity the plant, but you did nothing for it. You did not cause it to grow. You did not care for it. Should I not pity Nineveh, that great city where there are more than 120,000 people and all of their cattle?"
And that is how the story ends. I wonder what part of the story you like best.
I wonder what part of the story is the most important part.
I wonder where you are in the story, what part of the story is about you.
I wonder if there is any part of the story that we can leave out and still have the story we need.
I wonder how you would finish the story.
To those I may have wronged, I ask forgiveness. To those I may have helped, I wish I had done more. To those I neglected to help, I ask for understanding. To those who helped me, I thank you with all my heart. Bye!
This is the book of Jonah, as retold and illustrated by Peter Spear. And the Lord said to Jonah, "Get up, go to the city of Nineveh, and speak out against it, for its evil ways have offended me." But instead, Jonah decided to flee from the Lord. He went to Joppa and found a ship bound for Tarshish, far away in the opposite direction of Nineveh, paid the fare, and went on board. And the captain came to him saying, "What is the matter with you?" Oops. Then the Lord sent a great wind upon the sea, creating a mighty storm which threatened to break up the ship. The seamen were afraid. Each cried out to his own god. And they threw the ship's cargo into the sea to lighten their vessel. But Jonah had gone down below into the hold, where he had fallen fast asleep. And the captain came to him saying, "What's the matter with you? Get up, call on your God. Maybe your God will take notice of us and not let us perish." And then the seamen said to each other, "Come on, let us cast lots to discover who is responsible for the evil that has come upon us." And so they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah. And they said to him, "Tell us, please, why has this evil befallen us? What is your occupation and where do you come from? What is your country? And to which people do you belong?" And Jonah said to them, "I'm a Hebrew. I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land." And then the men were very frightened and said to him, "What have you done?" For they knew that he was fleeing from the Lord because he had told them so. And they said to him, "What shall we do to calm the sea?" For the storm was still increasing, and the waves rose ever higher. And he said to them, "Take me and throw me into the sea, because then, only then, will the sea be calm again. For I know that it is because of me that this storm is upon you." Instead, the men rowed hard to reach the safety of land, but could not, for the waves rose higher and higher against them. Therefore they cried to the Lord and said, "We beg of you, do not let us perish because of this man's sin, and do not punish us for taking this man's life. For you, Lord, are responsible for this. You have done as you pleased." And so they picked up Jonah and they threw him into the sea, and the sea stopped its raging and grew calm. This frightened the seamen greatly, so they offered a sacrifice and made solemn promises to the Lord. Now the Lord had arranged for a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. And Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the belly of the fish, saying he was deeply sorry to have disobeyed and begging for forgiveness and mercy. And he ended his prayer by saying, "I will sacrifice to you with the voice of thanksgiving. What I have promised I shall do. Salvation belongs to the Lord." And the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah out onto dry land. And then the word of the Lord came to Jonah a second time, saying, "Get up and go to the city of Nineveh and warn them of doom, as I told you to do before." So Jonah rose and went to Nineveh according to the word of the Lord, a journey of 3 days. And when he reached the city, he entered it, walked around it for a day, warning, "In 40 days Nineveh will be destroyed." And the people of Nineveh believed and proclaimed a fast and put on rough sackcloth, from the greatest to the very least of them. The word also reached the king of Nineveh, and he got up from his throne, took off his magnificent robe, and covered himself with sackcloth, and sat down among the ashes. And the king and his nobles decreed, "Let neither man nor beast, ox nor sheep eat anything. Do not let them graze or drink water, but let man and beast be covered with sackcloth and pray to God with all their might, that they shall all turn from their evil ways and violence." Who knows? God may yet reconsider and turn his anger from us so that we will not perish. And when God saw what they were doing, he regretted the punishment he had promised to send on to them, and he did not do it. But this displeased Jonah very much. He prayed to the Lord, saying, "O Lord, did I not predict this when I was still in my own country? That is why I fled to Tarshish. For I know that you're a gracious and merciful God, slow to anger and great in kindness. I knew that you would change your mind. Therefore, O Lord, take away my life, for it is better for me to die than to live." And the Lord replied, saying, "Are you right to be this angry?" And Jonah left the city and went out over to the east side of it. And he built a shelter for himself and waited to see what would become of the city. And God provided a vine that Jonah might be shaded, to grow up over his head and soothe his anger. And Jonah rejoiced greatly in the vine. But at sunrise the next day, God sent a worm, which chewed through the vine so that it withered. See the worm? And when the sun had risen, God arranged a nice warm east wind, and the sun beat down on Jonah's head, and he felt faint and wanted to die. And then God said to Jonah, "What right do you have to be so angry about the vine? And he answered, I have every right to be angry, angry enough to die. And the Lord said to him, you feel pity for the vine, which you did not plant or tend, which came up in one night and perished in one night. So I should not feel pity for Nineveh, the great city in which there are more than 120,000 people who do not know right from wrong, to say nothing of all of their animals. And that's the end of the story. The story of Jonah is a complicated one. It actually talks about a few different things. It talks about how God is pretty relentless, how we can try to say no, but maybe we won't get our way. It's about the mercy of God. It's about our repentance. And it's about our inability to control things. So I'm going to close this with a couple of prayers out of the Life Prayers book. Gentle me, O Holy One, into an unclenched moment. A deep breath, a letting go of heavy experiences, of shriveling anxieties, of dead certainties, that, softened by the silence, surrounded by the light, and open to the mystery, I may be found by wholeness, upheld by the unfathomable, entranced by the simple, and filled with the joy that is you. Amen. And one more. Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, then sitting here. This opening to life. We have refused again and again until now. Until now. So I hope you take some time today to be open to God in all of His forgiveness and relentlessness, and that you take that time, that deep breath, that letting go, and that you have a great week. And we'll see you back in 1 week's time. Bye.